Over 2,400 years ago in Sri Lanka, a tiny country near the southern tip of India flourished one of the finest hydraulic civilizations of the world. This country, at the core of the southeast monsoon, has 80% of its territory covered by a dry zone prone to water scarcity. Its ancient kings built a sophisticated network of small tanks connected by canals to large reservoirs to collect and redistribute every single drop of rain the land received. The tanks were built in a cascading system, using the natural inclination of topography of the land, full of small watersheds. They kept the natural cycle of the water through soil, vegetation, and atmosphere. The main goal of the system was to save and reuse water, allowing cultivation of rice in the dry zone. Tanks, paddy fields, watersheds, canals, and natural ecosystems were perfectly interlaced. Let not a single drop of water go waste into the sea without benefiting the world, as said by King Barak Ramabahu in the 12th century AD, was the reusing principle behind the cascade system. The North Central Dry Zone became the cradle of the island civilization, with the national capital city of Anuradhapura established there from the 3rd century BC. The origin of such elaborate hydraulic engineering and ecosystems is a mystery that to date remains unsolved. The design of the tanks was influenced by the Buddhist belief that humans need to live in harmony with nature. So specific areas of the tank were dedicated for wild animals, like endangered Asian elephants, birds, and many other species from the nearby forests. It is one of the only man-made ecosystems that managed to keep a perfect ecological balance for centuries, keeping water, nourishing soils, allowing to cultivate rice year-round, regulating the local weather, and letting animal and plant biodiversity thrive. In ancient times, the community was mandated to maintain the system by the king's order. The cascade system was perfectly adapted to cope with Sri Lanka's climate, characterized by current droughts and floods. The tanks were equipped with features to prevent floods, preserve water, and control evaporation. Today, climate change is exposing Sri Lanka to higher temperatures, heavier and more irregular rains, and longer droughts, and most of the cascade systems are in disrepair. Further, the tank ecosystem hasn't been properly maintained. Colonization, malaria epidemics, promoting modern irrigation technologies, economic globalization, and fundamental changes in social and cultural values are some of the reasons pointed out by scholars. The ancient tank's design and construction sophistication was poorly understood by modern engineers, and some key features were dropped. During the colonial era, tank cascade systems were neglected and abandoned. In Sri Lanka, there are 2 planting seasons: a relatively dry season, Yala, from May to August, and a rainy season, Maha, from October to January. For decades, farmers have only been able to plant during the rainy season due to water scarcity during the dry season. The rehabilitation of the tanks will now allow them to plant during both seasons.